Hey, welcome to the Big Bluecast. Yeah, I think this week we're probably going to be well served to kind of follow the template we've been following thus far. Talk about some of the football stuff first, and then talk a little bit of basketball news and stuff at the end. Kind of, especially this week, kind of end on a high note. Yeah, that being said, the first thing we really need to tackle this week is that dreadful loss to Missouri on Saturday. Where to begin with that, other than offense? What offense?
Eddie Grant.
Eddie Grant. That's yeah. We are right back to the days of what is Eddie Grant doing? um,
What drives me nuts is against Tennessee, he sat there and executed brilliantly.
yeah,
But against Missouri, it was like he was convinced that we were going to pass it on Missouri, and he was not willing to change that game plan
period.
whatsoever. I don't know. I've never met Eddie Grant, so I can't tell if he's an arrogant individual, but that is a very arrogant
Yeah.
decision making on his part
Hmm.
because you pass three times in a row and it doesn't work, you might want to reevaluate your game plan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's right back to the kind of. I mean, we've talked about that the last couple of weeks a lot too. Even when we were praising him last week, saying things like, you know, praising the fact that he actually tried to kind of adapt things and, you know, did what he had to do, not showing the arrogance and everything else. But this week we're right back to kind of the old bad habits that we've seen kind of over the years with him, where one, he's kind of going against what you would think the conventional game plan would be, just trying to force, passing the ball and it working versus just running it down their throats because they have a bad rush defense. Um, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, I don't really know, like on a personal level, what to make of the guy, to be honest. Like the stuff that I've read about him, and I could be totally off base, but I've always gotten the impression that with this kind of stuff with him, a lot of it is it's like a mix of maybe like hubris and arrogance, just thinking highly of himself. I don't know, but also him just looking at like his game plans from just a very like kind of scientific breakdown kind of perspective, like saying this should work, therefore like we're going to stick to that and it's eventually going to win. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This past weekend it did not work at all. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
and then I don't know what his problem is with Rodriguez because
Yeah.
Rodriguez was our best offensive tool in that game.
Period.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, Gatewood didn't play much better than Wilson, but at the same time,
Yeah.
the passing game wasn't working anyway. So it
No.
doesn't matter if you have
I
a better
mean,
passer out there or not.
mhm.
If they've got the passing game shut down, if our receivers cannot
Yeah.
outperform their defensive backs, then what are we supposed to do other
Yeah.
than run it? If running's working, stick to it until they stop it.
Right. And I mean, a team like that, we should have been able to have run the ball and had success. There's no reason not. I mean, that's what anything you read going into that game, everybody is saying like, this is the this is the keys to the castle right there. Throwing some pass plays for good measure, but you should be able to run it down their throats. And we have, some decent, pretty decent to good running backs this year. Chris
Yeah.
Rodriguez has been good. AJ Rose is a decent backup. When Smoke is healthy, he's good. Um, but yeah, the fact that he really didn't get many touches at all on the ball was just insane to me.
And at some
Um,
point, Mark Stoops is going to have to step up and do what Nick Saban does to his offensive coordinators when stuff is not working
yeah,
and tell them what to call.
yeah.
Look, you're changing it to running plays. I don't care. Now, I get that
Well,
Alabama goes to an offensive coordinator every couple of years because of it, because they get tired of Saban overruling them.
yeah,
But let's look at what
yeah.
Alabama does as a program. They win.
I mean, really, the only time I can think of that we've really seen Stoops do something like that was a couple years ago when he had Benny Snell, and I mean, you had the camera on him on the sideline where after each play he'd lean over and just say like 26 run, 26 run
Yeah.
each time because they kept trying to force pass plays and stuff. And honestly, I don't remember for certain which game that was, but I want to say it was when we played Missouri the last time
I think it was.
because I think that was when they were trying to pass, that wasn't working. There was some of that controversy with Danny Clark that was kind of hilarious, and then we had him third string quarterback in the game trying to run it up the middle because him and his dad had complained. You got Benny Snell sitting on the sideline, like it was the most ridiculous thing. And I just thought if we lose the game now, Like, sorry, they don't get to run from this. Like, this is dumb.
Yeah, and
And then
we got to
finally it
move
was just
past
like,
high
boom.
school
Yeah.
football and go to college football.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, like I said,
Mhm.
Stoops' job
Yeah.
as head coach is to make the final call. I mean, I know
Absolutely.
the coordinators want to do their job. They want to prove their mettle because
Yeah.
they eventually want to become head coaches. I get that.
Exactly.
But at the same time, they need to be able to be humble a little bit and take some criticism.
Sure.
And the head coach needs to do his job. If it hurts their feelings and they want to go somewhere else the next year, fine. Bye. See ya.
Yeah.
I'll get
But I
somebody
mean,
else in here that'll maybe do the
if we,
job that needs to be done, and maybe I won't have to correct them. And if I do, maybe they'll take that criticism.
yeah, like you said, it's all on the head coach. And if he sees that we're in like disaster mode with that sort of thing, if he has the wherewithal to do so, he needs to step in and say, like, no, stop. Put Rodriguez in and run it and see what happens. Um, yeah, I mean, the thing is, me and you have kind of talked about this. It's mind boggling because, I mean, one, like our wide receivers just aren't that great. Um, at quarterback, just wild inconsistency, and we still don't really know what we have with Joey Gatewood because we haven't seen enough of him yet. But when you look at the numbers that the offensive line are putting out, it really like it's more worrisome because you're going like they should be providing enough protection and everything else to make this work. If these guys are just okay, they should be able to do something here, and it's not happening. So like I think
Yeah.
that's more of an indictment on our quarterbacks and our wide receivers than anything right now. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff with the play calling and everything else,
Mm.
but you'd think they'd be able to figure something out because our offensive line's good.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean, Eddie Grant did come out and said he needed to work on his play calls a little bit. Yeah,
yeah,
but the funny thing was, as soon as he done that, he went right back to blaming the offensive line for not bringing the energy. And I'm like, excuse me, what energy are they supposed to have? Every play call you do is
yeah,
failing. Like
yeah.
they're running the play calls, they're just not working. So when we
Calls just
ran the ball,
stink.
it worked.
Hmm.
I mean, our offensive line had no reason to not be energized or not gassed because they were never on the field.
Yeah,
Three
I
and
mean,
out,
I
three
just
and out, three and out because
constantly
and constantly three passes. Quit doing that.
like not even
Joker
trying
Phillips.
one
I mean,
run.
that's what that reminded me
Yeah,
of. Was a Joker Phillips called game.
and I mean, that's a really bad indictment on the staff if they're doing something rationally like comparable to the Joker Phillips era. That's really bad.
I'm not holding back no punches on that one because that's
No, I mean, it was true. I'm just saying, like it's sobering to be like, oh crap, we're stepping that far back, are we? Oh, geez, let's not do that, guys. Come on, we can be better, can't we? Surely. Um, Yeah, I mean Terry looked off. I didn't, I thought Terry looked bad. Gatewood, I mean, he got a little bit of time in, but he's new. He's still figuring things out. You know,
he's
you
he was still only getting a quarter of the reps that Wilson was with the
yeah,
starters. So he's got to get
you can
those relationships built. But now this week here should be an
right.
improvement for him because he's getting all the reps. Well, he's splitting them with
Mhm.
Bo
Bo
Allen,
Allen.
but
Hmm.
still yet he's getting the majority of the reps. So
Now,
you know,
were you as bothered as I was by the fact that they kept swapping the quarterbacks back and forth so much? Because mainly because like we ran with Terry, and I thought that
ran his
at the
course
time I
pretty
thought that
quick.
was yeah, like we did that. But I thought, then they switched to Gatewood, and then they switched back, and then they switched again, and it just seemed like there wasn't really any sort of like game plan put into that.
Well, to me,
They
it
were
was like
just
Eddie
going
Graham was just trying to reach for somebody to blame it on.
something.
Like, okay,
Yeah,
this is on the
yeah,
quarterback, so I'm putting this guy in. Okay, this guy doesn't get much
mhm,
playing time, so now that we've talked to Terry, let's throw him back in. The first time that happened, that's kind of what I seen. But yet,
yeah,
when it happened again, I was like, okay, Gate was going to stay in this time because
right,
Wilson didn't listen. But then he pulled him right back out
mm,
and put Wilson in. I'm like, okay, if you're going to put the guy in
yeah,
twice, give him a chance. Just tell Terry,
right.
look, you had your chance. This boy's playing the rest of the game.
Yeah, but like the constant just flip flopping gets things so just disorganized, and I don't know how you expect to instill confidence in anybody on the field, let alone the two
Well, and they're
quarterbacks in
changing the play
question.
calls they're doing because there's different calls for
Exactly.
Gatewood than there is Terry. So
Yeah.
now you're asking the offensive line to switch from playbook to playbook.
Yeah, totally just changing things up. And I mean, that's why I thought, hold out probably as long as you can, switch to Gatewood when you feel like it's time, and then, hold out longer because if you got to switch back to Terry, like you can't just keep going and going. Like you got to just pick a guy and just run with it
Yeah.
and just say, okay, let's see what we can do here. You know, maybe that's because a lot of the problem wasn't that it had anything to do with the quarterback. It was because one of the biggest weapons we had for that entire game on both sides of the ball, Chris Rodriguez, was sitting most of the time, not
And I
doing
don't get
anything.
that. I don't know if Eddie Grandis does
No,
not like the boy or if he's got an attitude or what. I don't know what's
do you
going on
think
in the locker room, but evidently something's gone on to make Eddie Grand not like him, or that, or they're just trying to push Rose where he's a fifth year senior.
do you think it's like they've kind of like with Terry, like they've just, I guess to a lesser extent, like they've just decided AJ Rose is their go-to guy, even if somebody else kind of rises above him and they don't want to lose him, like hurt his feelings.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about it though with Rose, he's already said that
Yeah,
he's not going to the NFL. He's going to go be a
yeah,
undercover cop.
and- yeah,
So if that's what he's doing, then why are you worried about getting him as many snaps as possible as a fifth year senior?
right.
If he was
Like you're
going
not.
to try to go to the pros and he was a big pro prospect, I get it. Okay, if he's got a bad game or
Yeah.
two, ride it out with him. I get it.
Mhm.
But seeing the circumstances around it, give the ball to the guy running it good, you know?
You would think that would be like if you've got a fifth year senior like him, you think that would be like the ideal situation is we're going to have him be like our starting running back for the year. But this is kind of it for him, and he knows that and has acknowledged it. We're not worried about like putting together tape for him. Like it's just go out and play and do
Have
whatever you
fun.
can for the team. And we'll, if this other guy rises up and is better, well then let's roll with him because he's going to be around a while. So
Hopefully.
hopefully, I
Yeah, you do
mean,
stuff like this, that guy might transfer, then you just lost a weapon.
a big one. Yeah. I mean,
Man,
you mess around with stuff like that and go, yeah, this fifth year senior guy that I'm obviously superior to, like
how
they just
many
won't give me a
quarterback
chance.
recruits have we lost that's went to other programs and performed very, very well at those programs that
Yeah.
never got the first ounce of playing time?
Yep.
Who was it a few years back? Eastern Michigan that beat us a few years back, and it was with one of our former quarterbacks.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that
Yeah,
in the Sleeps era, and it's really aggravating. Um, like really aggravating. I don't
yeah.
know.
Because I mean,
Like
everybody says,
there's,
"Why don't we get quarterbacks?" Well, we get them. We've been getting decent rated quarterbacks. We just don't play them. We stick with the guy they started the season with and ride it out.
mm, yeah, it's like we've been saying all along. I mean, and granted, kind of going into this game on Saturday against Georgia. I mean, we'll see. I don't know if Terry's going to play or if he's going to have limited minutes or what, because I know they said he has a minor injury and he's been missing practice this
Yeah,
week.
I think it was a wrist
So I
injury.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's an indication like Gatewood's going to start and be kind of the go-to guy. I mean,
Well, he hasn't in practice
sucks for
this
him.
week, so
Yeah, so I figure like there's a good chance like it's going to be Gatewood, and we're just planning on going Gatewood, Bo Allen, and just see how it goes. Because if he's not practicing at all, like you wouldn't
well, if
think.
they're bringing Bo Allen
Um,
into the first string practices, I don't see
yeah,
Terry playing this weekend.
I mean, yeah, I'd seen that honestly just a little bit earlier this afternoon that they're basically getting all the reps and everything. I was like, oh, I think Terry's out.
Yeah, and I guess
Sucks for
Cavassier's
him,
out this
but
weekend too.
still out.
Last I
Okay.
heard, I mean, they might have
Yeah.
updated today sometime. I haven't seen it, but last I heard he was still
Yeah.
out. But I kind of get it. We're probably going to get pummeled against Georgia, so why re-aggravate the
Mhm.
guy's injury against a
If he's got broken,
most likely
yeah,
likely a loss?
yeah. If he's got freshly healed like broken ribs, the last thing you want to do is take, either your best or second best, probably, running back and just throw him in there against Georgia and get destroyed. Probably get hurt again.
Yeah,
Um,
and he got Bama the next week, and then Florida.
man.
They might be
And here
sitting
we
him for the
are.
Florida game. Bring him
Uh,
back nice and fresh for that one.
well, at least we get a bye week. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, the glass is kind of half full here, but
it's a half a
at
glass.
least we,
You either
yeah,
drain it or you fill it. Take your pick.
yeah, we're just gonna cut the glass in half and say take it for what you want. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like looking, at least the defense is still not looking terrible. I mean, the offense is terrible, but mainly because it's misused. Um,
Yeah.
so looking ahead to this Georgia game, like, do you honestly think we have a shot at winning?
No.
Like none at all. That's kind of where I am. Uh, After the Tennessee game, I thought we'd have like a puncher's chance just if we showed up and both sides, like, on both sides of the ball, if we just played the absolute best we could, maybe we have a shot after kind of seeing how things have gone. And then after this last game, I think
If they come
basically
in
let's,
and they play with
mm,
that chip on their shoulder, like they did all
mm,
last season, like they did against Tennessee,
yeah,
I give them a 10% chance. Maybe 1 in 10 games they could pull off against Georgia.
yeah.
Maybe, and that's me being very, very generous in that.
And really, if you're looking for like any sort of higher percentage, like in the 20s or something like that, you're basically banking on is Georgia going to come in and just whiff it because they don't think anything of us and like basically try to sleepwalk through it on top of us playing the best game we can possibly
We've
play.
got to make sure to keep pressure on their quarterback. Their quarterback's not that tall.
Mm,
So if we can keep pressure on him and keep his receivers covered up, that's going to help us on slowing down their passing game. Because the
mm,
boy's basically just throwing where he thinks the guy's going to be,
yeah.
or throwing way down the field where he can actually see past the line. But as
Right.
long as we can keep hands up, keep bodies pushed up and high on the front line, we're going to make him have to go to deep balls, and the secondary is going to have to do their part.
Big time.
But as
Big
far as
time.
protecting the run, Georgia's got some good running game going. So
Yeah, they do. So we're gonna really see for sure again because now we've been battle tested some, we've done well some, we've done crappy some. We're really gonna see playing up front on both sides of the ball. Like, okay, we're gonna see what we got because I mean you can make excuses like after the Auburn game and stuff like that. Auburn's really not looking as good as we thought they'd be, that sort of stuff. Okay, we're playing Georgia, so if we're really supposed to be one of like the best offensive lines in the country and have, a highly touted, should be on paper good defensive line, we're going to find out. And I think we're going to know very quickly whether or not that's true. Um, but yeah, I mean, not to sound pessimistic or anything, but yeah, I don't, the rest of the season, for most of these games, I don't really feel very hopeful about. I think we should be happy if we can get a South Carolina win, and the rest will honestly just kind of be gravy at this point.
yeah, I mean, their confidence is going to be so hit on after these next 3 games
Yeah,
that
I mean, it's just going to roll. I mean, even if you think that there's an outside chance we can beat Florida, we're coming off of like Georgia. Alabama's going to kick us into the dirt. So, I mean, how confident can they honestly
here's a
be?
prediction for you: if we beat Florida,
Hmm.
South Carolina pummels us.
Honestly, like I could see that happening now. Like I could see us going and just getting the huge upset, and then I'll be like biting my nails waiting for that South Carolina game because that's kind of how we are. Like, I mean, we just saw it. We beat Tennessee. We broke that streak and that road streak. Then we go and we lose to Missouri, a team that we should be able to beat just with a decent game plan and doing, playing our game.
Yeah,
So you just don't, I mean,
and the trash
we
talking.
kind of,
Stop the trash talking.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
Missouri came out and played a hard game
especially,
because of the trash talk. So stop
yeah,
it. We're still
like
Kentucky when
just
it comes to
be
football.
quiet.
Stop the trash
Yeah,
talking. We have no room to talk trash.
no, we've really, I mean, yeah, sure, you guys beat Tennessee. Tennessee stinks this year anyway, but what have we done to warrant trash talking? It's just stupid. I don't know. I mean, that's cockiness. Like
We,
that's
we
not
did the
even
same thing
just
in South Carolina. We
confidence.
beat them 5 years straight, and then
Hmm.
we get beat because we go in and talk trash, and their coaches
And
use it.
overlook them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I felt bad about when I saw the things coming out saying that, the Missouri, they're kind of, they're journalists and they're players and just different people on that side of things were looking at a Kentucky win as like a big, shot in the arm for the program. It's like crap because we're not going to be that motivated at all, and we weren't. Like we just were coasting off of that Tennessee win and slept walk through the whole thing. It was
yeah.
really disappointing. I don't know. Stinks. Uh, yeah, probably likely a Georgia loss on Saturday. We'll just see. Um, on a happier note, though, yay! Something we've been talking about for literally months on end finally happened. Literally like 2 hours after we finished recording last week, which was
Olivier
which is
Sarr.
hilarious. But Olivier Sarr is fully eligible to play this year. He is on. Jacob Toppin also eligible. So we've got like 11 scholarship players. We know who our team is.
And we will
We
not
are
be
ready to rock.
platooning, according to Calipari.
According to
But
Calipari, no platooning.
everybody's going to get minutes, so I see platooning.
Yeah, that's what one of the quotes I'd read from him said, like, if we have 10 or 11 guys who deserve to play as much as the other guys, we'll platoon. But if they don't, which to me means like there's no way because, I mean, what we had the year we platoon was a little, pretty special in that regard. Like, but I don't like are going to be taking half of like Olivier Sarr's minutes. Like he's going to be on the floor a ton. Like BJ Boston, Terrence Clark, they're going to be on the floor a ton. Um, like they'll be
Yeah.
good role players and probably get plenty of minutes and give them plenty of breathers, but they're not going to take like half the minutes for the
Has any
game.
of the Vegas lines took up anything on Calipari's comments about running zone?
Oh, jeez.
Because,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind to put $100 on it and make a couple mil after
Seriously.
if he does do it, and just be
Yeah.
out, $100 if he doesn't.
If he doesn't, yeah, be filthy rich if he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that comment. He said, we've actually, we're going to be really big and we don't know about shooting, some of these lineups, but we're practicing zone. Give me a
No.
break. I mean, I'm sure he's probably ran like a couple of little zone drills, but to act like we're actually going to play legitimately use zone a lot this year is
The
just
only way we're playing zone
hilarious.
is if Calipari plans on getting ejected every single game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's just going to have to get thrown out of every little bubble or whatever that we go to. Yeah. Um,
Which may happen because there's not going to be much stadium
yeah.
noise to drown out his antics on the sideline.
Right. I mean, it might be
He may
quick.
as well be mic'd up.
Yeah, you might have some producers in there going, we can actually hear him like loud and clear every word he's saying. Like, get him out. You can't have him yelling that.
Yeah. Coach K will be in that same situation.
Might have to put like a ball gag in his mask or something and say, there, like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, Jay Lucas, Bruiser Flint, like, which one of you wants to be the pullback coach? Because you're going to have to really keep him quiet now that there's nobody here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Duke's
kind of
going to
on
have a
that.
hard time with Coach K, too. So.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as that goes, like it seems like right now on the recruiting trail and stuff, our new coaches are doing pretty good, kind of taking over from Kenny Payne and everything. And we got Sky Clark and got a couple other guys probably getting ready to commit and everything. I mean, Cal's kind of on a recruiting tear right now.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. I like it. I'd seen a lot where I think they talked to Sky Clark's dad, and he said, like really watching how the UK guys have done in the NBA bubble, especially like kind of down the stretch of the
Mm-hmm.
playoffs, made a big difference. Just go look at all these guys, like they come from there. Even why would you not go there if you can? So I think that did us a little bit of favor with some dudes. I mean, even though we pretty much figured Clark was coming to Lexington, like I know they talked like North Carolina really made a push there at the end, and uh, his dad kind of talked like the NBA stuff really kind of solidified it.
Yeah.
Um, like there's nobody else exists now. Like we're just going to go here. But yeah, hopefully they can kind of keep rolling with that. Uh, Keep racking in some more recruits and stuff. And I think we'll talk about this. Like I said last week. Now that we actually do have a bye week, we'll have some time. Maybe we could just do like a little basketball preview special show. We'll talk more about kind of the new additions to the staff and everything else. But it seems like so far not too shabby.
Yeah.
Um,
Because there's really nothing else to really talk about right now. I mean, baseball's finished up.
yeah,
Um, congratulations to the Dodgers.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, most of the sports are about done. NASCAR's in their playoffs, but
Mm,
they're kind of down right now. I mean, all the pro sports are down right now. I'm watching, so I mean, it's like, do you cover that in the off week
yeah.
or?
Well, I mean, and honestly, the way the bye week falls, I mean, you're talking it'll just be like 2 or 3 weeks away from, the start of the season. So, hey, why not? We should, we've got our roster now. hopefully, I mean, that's really the only other big thing going on with college basketball right now is now, like, the Orlando bubble has been shut down. They've decided to scrap that because they can't get all these different programs like agree on COVID protocols and all this craziness. Hopefully, within the next couple of weeks, they'll have that like figured out. I mean, they're going to have to because they can't just hold off forever. But hopefully, they'll have something figured out in terms of like, okay, where are we going to play Kansas? Like what venue? Or because I think they'll get something figured out. It's just a matter of when. I don't think
Yeah,
they're
and
just going
then
to let
the
this get
the
together.
tournaments though now that's news.
Yeah, yeah. um, I don't know what it drives me crazy just because we've had literally months
To figure
like
this out.
leading to figure this kind of stuff out, and then we get to right around the 1 month mark and everything starts to fall apart, and people are asking questions that they should have been asking. I mean, if they'd been asking in like June or July, I would have understood. It's like, what have we been doing all along? Like, get this figured out.
Let's see, where's the
um
tournament supposed to be held at?
I'm not really sure what, like, as far
Is the
I'm,
venue?
I'm honestly not sure for
Was it
this
at
year.
Madison Square Garden?
eh,
Because if it was, it kind of makes sense why they would do it last minute. Because let's face it, we're talking which
yeah,
what
yeah,
state we're talking about.
yeah. um
But I'm not sure where it was
that
supposed to
sounds
be.
right. I think
Yeah,
I think you're right on that. Yeah, Champions Classic supposed to be moved to, yeah, it's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be one of the featured events in the Orlando bubble, and they had like the whole list of different like special MTE tournaments or whatever they were going to do, and now all that's just so I don't know. But that was really like, especially coming off of like, hey, we're bringing in a bunch of new like, two or three new recruits. Like that's awesome. Like we're actually on a tear now. We haven't really done that in a while. And now these two guys we've been waiting on, especially Sarr, like they're eligible. Yes, great news. And now we don't know where we're
yeah,
playing. But that's kind of 2020 in a nutshell. Like
pretty
build us up,
much.
build us up, build us up, and then let us down. But yeah, especially with especially with like the big kind of games like that. Hopefully, I mean, I think we were supposed to play Kansas in the Orlando bubble, and like maybe one other team was supposed to go down there and play us like a few days later, just like kind of in that bubble environment. But I mean, surely they can work something out. Like, I don't really care what it is. Figure out some court to go play that game on.
Yeah,
But
yeah, definitely. I mean, let's face it. I think the Saints are looking at playing in LSU's football field.
really,
Yeah. Evidently, Louisiana said no indoor arena sports.
huh?
So everything must be an outside venue. So they're talking about actually the Saints playing at
Yeah,
LSU's football stadium because it's open air,
interesting. Well, yeah, I
not
mean,
a dome.
saw that problem.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the interesting thing is just seeing, especially basketball wise, like now that they're, I have to deal with closed venues and stuff like that, 15% capacity or up arena, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. The NBA bubble went really well as far as that goes. I feel like with college, it's just going to be a mess. It's going to be ridiculous. Um, but hey, we've got our team. We've got the exact team that we want. So I can't really complain too much. Just try to have faith that they're going to get the rest figured out. That way we can end here on a high note. So we're not just being like, there's nowhere to play basketball. This stinks. Because for on the basketball side of things, really, it's been a huge net positive over the last week or so, big time.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
yeah, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Unless you got anything else.
That's actually about it. I mean,
Yeah,
we're already almost at 30 minutes, and
yeah, that's
there's really
pretty
nothing else going on. So,
pretty comprehensive look at terrible football game and just some nice little basketball news sprinkled in. That's
I
about
guess on
all
some
that's going on.
random news that is fairly recent, so may as well throw that out there.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson is going to be back in NASCAR next year,
Well, there you go.
racing for Hendricks in the number 5 car.
Sweet.
Yeah, he posted that on there about a half hour ago. He posted on Twitter that he was going to be back in NASCAR next year. So gets a second chance. Hopefully he doesn't squander it.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yep. So I guess that's about all we got.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, definitely hit us in the comments if you got anything to say about the Missouri game or any of the basketball stuff we talked about. Looking ahead to Georgia, heaven forbid. Be sure to like and share the video. subscribe to Big Bluecast. And thanks for listening. We always appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.